This is the study guide Miss Ely has put together for the first unit test. This is what you can look for in your notebook. You want to make sure you look at your bell ringers, your notes, everything you need to know about this test is in your notebooks. On the test, you're going to have to be able to find the area of a parallelogram, the area of a triangle, find the area of a rectangle. Then you're going to have to find the surface area of a rectangular prism. You're going to have to find the volume of a cube, and you're going to have to be able to label the height and the base of a shape. You're going to have to know the definition of area, surface area, and volume. And you're going to have to label everything correctly. All right, so what we have here is some examples of some problems. I'm going to do some problems that are very similar to this. I'm not going to do these exact problems though. Okay, so when we look at the area of a parallelogram, we need to know that it's base times height. When we look at the area of these parallelograms, it's going to be the same, base times height. Alright, and as we go down here, we've got some areas for triangles. That formula is 1/2 of base times height. And the area of a rectangle is going to be length times width. Alright, so I'm going to do some problems to show how that works. Go ahead and pull up my notes here. Alright, so when we look at a parallelogram, it doesn't have square sides, and by square sides it does not have up and down at 90 degrees. But in class you were taught that if you take this section and you move it over here, it'll fit into that area. We don't need to worry about redrawing our sections or anything like that. But if we know that this is at 90 degrees, then we can figure out that that is the height. And if this is the length here, well, then that's our base. So 2 times 4 equals 8. And if it is inches, we need to make sure we put inches squared. If there are no inches or centimeters or anything, then you can just put units squared or meters squared. So we're looking for the base and the height. We multiply them together, and then we square the units. All right, now if we have a parallelogram and it is on a grid like this, we're not going to be able to just square it up because some of the squares are not going to be even. So what we're going to do is we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is going to be my base. And 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be my height. Will give me 24 units squared for my area of that parallelogram. So we are just looking for how long it is and how tall it is. In math, we use the terms base and height when we're talking about parallelograms. All right, we also use base and height when we're talking about triangles. So if I have a triangle, I need to know at a 90-degree angle what that is, because that'll give me my height. And then I need to know the whole length of the triangle to give me my base. So height times the base. But then I need to cut it in half because this triangle is half of a rectangle or half of a square, depending on what type of triangle it is. So if this is 3 inches high and this is 7 inches long, we're going to have 1/2 times 3 times 7. So 21 divided by 1/2. That's going to be 10.5. Alright, and if I have a triangle that is already on a square, you will see that that is 1/2 of a square. And we're on 90 degrees. And if I have a 4 and a 5, it's going to be 1/2 of 4 times 5. Alright, so I can do 20 and take 1/2 of 20, or I could cut that 4 in half and make it a 2, and then I would have 2 times 5 equals 10. So 1/2 of 10 is, oh sorry, 1/2 of 20 is 10. It's going to match up. And again, when we're doing area, we're going to have to make sure we put our squared, make sure that 2 is there. Alright, next thing we need to do is find the area of a rectangular prism. I'm sorry, the area of a rectangle. So if I have a rectangle, I'm now looking for the length times the width. All I have to do is find the length and the width. And again, it doesn't really matter. If you want to call this the length, that's fine. If you want to call this one the width, that's fine. Because if you turn it or rotate it, it's going to be in a different spot. So if I have 2 and 6, I'm just going to multiply 2 times 6 equals 12. And again, if it's inches, make sure you put inches squared. If there's nothing there, put units, well, if I can spell, units squared. Alright, the next thing we need to know is how to find the surface area of a rectangle, a rectangular prism. Now the area is the area of one face. So this is again going to be our face. The surface area is going to be all 6 faces. The problems with these 3-dimensional shapes on a 2D paper is that we can only see 1, 2, 3 of them. So we need to be able to find the area of 3 faces and then multiply it by 2. Alright, so if this is 3, this is 2, and this is 1, we need to go, okay, I need to find 1 times 2 to get this one. And then I need to multiply 2 times 3 to get this one. And then I need to multiply 2. See how these are all 2. 2 times, and these are all 3. 2 times 3 to get that one. So we're going to have 2, 6, and 6. And then we need to add them together, which gives us 12 plus 2 is 14. But that is only 1, 2, 3. We need all 6. So we're going to have to multiply it by 2, and that gives us 28. Remember, this one's also going to be squared. So if it's inches, put inches. If it's centimeters, put centimeters. And then squared. I went through that kind of fast. But remember, the whole point is we are finding 3 faces, and then we're multiplying by 2. There is one other way to do this. If we take our rectangular prism, and we want to do 4 times 2, that's this surface, And then we want to do 2 times 3, that's that surface. And then we want to do 3 times 4, that's that one. You can just go ahead and add your multiply by 2 if that works easier for you. All right, so then 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. And then we add these together and we get 52. So the surface area would be 52 units squared. It doesn't write on the edge of the screen here very well. All right, so that's the surface area of a rectangle. And again, if it was drawn with cubes like this, you're just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. It's not any different. You just have to do the counting before it starts, or before you start anything else. So then you're going to have 2 times 3 times 2, 3 times 3 times 2, and 2 times 4 times 2. Make sure you are understanding which section you have finished so that you don't do the same section twice. And then you add it together. All right. Now we need to know the volume. Now remember, the volume is brand new, but it is on the test. The volume is the inside, how much it takes to fill a three-dimensional shape. Now when we're solving for volume, we're only going to have to worry about cubes for this unit. So it's going to be very easy. Okay, so when you have a cube, all the sides are the same. This edge right here is 5 inches. This edge is going to be 5. This edge is going to be 5. This edge is going to be 5. Everything is 5. So when you see a cube, and it says it's a cube, know that all the sides, all the edges, they're all going to be the same. The volume of a cube is the side length times itself 3 times, or side times side times side. So for this particular cube, we're looking at 5 times 5 times 5, which is 25 times 5, which equals 125. Now, the only thing you need to absolutely 100% remember about this is that it is going to be cubed instead of squared. If you do not write a 3 on the volume problems, it will not be 100% correct. So on this one, make sure that 3 is there. All right, the last thing you need to verify according to the study guide is be able to label a three-dimensional rectangular prism. Please remember that these purple lines are the edges. Okay, this is a face. If it helps you remember that you're trying to find the surface area. And the last thing you need to know is where the vertexes are. All right, vertex is where the edges meet. Okay, remember that there's some that are unseen as well. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If we drew these lines right here, you would have 8 vertexes on a cube. All right, that's it for the study guide. I hope that this is helpful.